Welcome to another episode of Hackitect Playground. Today we'll talk about the Chef Inspec, AWS, and security as code testing in cloud. So enjoy, this is the next part of our great journey. Why security as code is very important in cloud. In the last episode, we talked about Chef Inspec and integration with AWS and what it can actually bring to you. The question comes to you because I explained to you a lot of the details in the code, but the basic question is why I should do that. Why I should do that is verification of your design. If you build something and your architect some kind of solution, you want to be sure that everyone who is implementing the solution, the engineers, security engineers, cloud engineers, and your operations are doing what have you designed, like in your application security specification or in your application or cloud design specification. So you want to verify that your design matches what is implemented. So you're verifying the reality and alerting the unwanted and insecure changes, because there can be changes that are insecure and you cannot be everywhere. Security guys in DevSecOps, they cannot be everywhere, they cannot clone themselves, and they cannot offer the services in every team. So you need to have mechanism which will automatically allow you to track the changes and to be alerted when something will happen, when something bad will come to your infrastructure, and to be able to remediate that, you first need to know about that. And then next point is that it can bring an additional testing to your CI/CD and DevSecOps pipeline. This is really cool because you can define your own test as code. Very great stuff, and it helps you a lot to improve the quality of your systems. And next thing is automated benchmarking. It brings to you automated, periodic, and scheduled benchmarking of your infrastructure. Not only this, but benchmarking based on your baseline that you define. So this is really great stuff to understand and to know why we actually do that. And because this is part 2 of Chef Inspec AWS messing around, I will go again to the architecture before we will start the demo, how it works, and explain the details. Inspec profile is shared on the GitHub Inspec repository. It can be also stored in S3 bucket, and run inspec checks goes there and takes the image from it and takes not the image, it takes basically the data about your profile and then run it on the instance. The instance must have running an up-to-date system manager agent. So system manager agent must be installed in your instance. If you don't know how to install it, you can have pre-installed instance on EC2 Marketplace in AWS. With the run command, which is part of the system manager, or AWS System Manager, you can execute it on scheduled way or on demand. It goes to CloudWatch, and CloudWatch event rule basically executes the mapping lambda. It's an application security finding format, which is going to push the data to the Security Hub. Where you can see the additional information is AWS System Manager Compliance or the Fleet Manager, where you have additional viewpoints on the data. And cool thing is, but we will not do that today, is that you can integrate the Security Hub with the Event Bridge. AWS Event Bridge can bring you really cool integrations with your SORA, SIEM, or any other security monitoring and incident response solutions. Really great stuff, and I think that it's time to have a fun and play around the AWS console. So let's talk more about Inspec profiles and their connection to GitHub or S3 bucket. Here I prepare for our demo the Inspec controls and Inspec YAML, which is basically a very simple description of the profile. And in controls, there is simple control that are committed to my repository written in Ruby. You see that there are few controls, like 4 different controls that I will prepare for the SSH scanning, application location check, benchmark, and IDA integrity monitoring installation. These few steps are already prepared for my testing. So very simple and very easy to run, and we can play with that in AWS. So what you need is a CloudFormation stacks from AWS Labs, and you can change it I did some changes on the template because not everything worked for me really well. All credits go to John Rao, who wrote the code. It's really great and really useful. Next thing, what you really need is to prepare your S3 bucket with the code for the Lambda, which is mapping application security finding format for AWS from a Chef Inspec findings. And next thing, what you will need are some instances that are already running. So I will also execute this instance and I will launch it, or I can basically launch instances from this one, but I will execute you see that there's one running, the test, and the second that I want to use, and I can change the instance state with start instance. I will not create a new one. So very simple, I will run this sectech SSM and sectech test, and that's it. I will prepare these two instances. It will be really fast, and in between I will show you what you really need to have done. So the S3 bucket, the code ready in S3 bucket or in GitHub, and the CloudFormation stack. I already created this CloudFormation stack. Here's the stack info with the stack ID and description, everything that you need. You can also tags or put the tags in place for this very nice CloudFormation stack. Then you see the events, that what happens. Basically, it created the stack step by step. It creates the event rule, like CloudWatch event rule. It creates the Lambda with the code that you uploaded to S3 bucket. And that's it. Basically, very simple. And it gives you also the permissions. Of course, you need to have all the permissions in place. So move forward. What we can do, and we can execute the command because I want to integrate it with Security Hub. And the Lambda, based on the event in CloudWatch events, maps the data to Security Hub. So with run command or system manager, I will go to system manager, we can execute the commands on the instances where the system manager agent is installed, like SSM agent. So go to run command and then you can execute the Chef Inspec profile. It's very nice and very easy. You can have the command history, you can run the command from the scratch. I will borrow one from my inspec. Here is one successful, so I will copy to new, I will create a new. And what you need to have is document name run inspec check, run inspec checks, very simple one. And what I need to, is this one. This is the important string, which says that I'm the owner of my repository is inspec, the path, and the branch. Basically, really simple, and you can specify the targets based on the tags, or choose the instances manually, or choose the resource group. I will select the instance. Manually, I can select the sectech SSM, the run which is running, and very easily I can execute the command. So then you can say rate control on the targets, concurrency, error threshold, output options. You can enable the output to S3 bucket that you prepared. And what I recommend to you is the CloudWatch logs because it works with the CloudWatch logs, and execute run. So what it will do, it will execute the 3 different steps of run command and basically sends the data to Lambda, which will map the data to the application security finding format for Security Hub. And then you can read it in the Security Hub and also filter the data in Security Hub. It will take some time, so it is running in progress when the tests are executed, and you can also cancel the command when it is running. If you will look for the new template, or if you will build the command from scratch, it is very simple. What you can do is very easy stuff, and I will show you here with the run command. From beginning, the command history, you will see that our command was successful, and you want to write a new command, you can write inspec here, and you will get the same thing as I did, and it's the run inspec check, like run inspec checks. Check and checks are very close, so sometimes it's easy to do the mistake. So Security Hub, let's go to Security Hub because the data should be there for us. Anytime when the compliance status change, we should be able to see the data there. If there is no change, it doesn't update the data in the console. So when we go to findings, you should see my findings there, and here you see there are some findings like from the personal company or default profile and my own Revolgy profiles that I wrote and prepared that are in status failed. You see some low, critical, and I can click on the detail that I can describe and define, and it says that this instance has failed the inspect test and it is missing the IDE integrity monitoring. So there is no integrity monitoring on the node and it should be there, so it fails my test. And I see what is the account ID and what instance, and also the types of the attack, the resources, and all the information that I need to have for the information. If you want to check it not in Security Hub, but in your Fleet Manager, you can do it also. So in the Fleet Manager and Compliance, it is also available. The same informations are there. So if I will go back here and to System Manager, and show you that from the Fleet Manager perspective, like going back to the core. So in the Fleet Manager or in the Compliance, you will see similar data in the security, like in Security Hub. But Security Hub can give you more insights, more filtering, and more single pane of look at your data from the security standpoint. You see that non-compliant resources are here. You can also select it based on the rules. So one rule is compliant, 3 rules are non-compliant. And when I will change it, so non-compliant resources, and you can also click on that and you will get the resource. When you will click, it will open for you the System Manager Fleet Manager, and in the Fleet Manager you will see the compliance configuration and status of your compliance as code testing for your instance. Really cool stuff, really cool stuff, because you can codify whenever control you like or whenever operating system you like. This is the amazing flexibility of combination of Chef and AWS. So if I will show you like one last thing with the Security Hub, when we are back in the Security Hub. So with the Security Hub, you can have insight, and you can create your insight, which will filter the data for you. So I have here prepared the Chef Inspec insight, and this Chef Inspec insight is very easy and understandable for everyone. So you can say the product name is default and it's aggregated by account ID. So, and I already prepared the insight for the product type, this Inspec. This insight gives you only the data from Chef Inspec, and you can see which tests are failing. Very cool, very simple, just to show you maybe the Lambda behind it, because also serverless rules the world. So let's go to the Lambda and have some last fun with more details about this implementation. Here is this SSM compliance to inspect Security Hub. Lambda basically is very simple. If you can find it on internet, so I didn't like write it whole myself. So I just did some small changes. This Lambda handler does very simple thing, and it maps the data to your application security finding format, and basically you can add your own text or your own data or shuffle the data whenever. So very simple thing, very easy to use. So from the demo perspective, I think that we are done today. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you are interested on previous episode about Chef Inspec profile, you can check it here. And if you are interested in more of my videos, you can check it on this side. Thank you so much.